and I'm going to give my remark in Chinese because I'm here in China. 尊敬的各位来宾，各位专家，还有我今天看到那么多的年轻的朋友，大家早上好。首先呢，非常感谢本次大会的主办方，亚太妇女研究与资源中心 ARO 能给我这个机会来表达我对各位的到来表示感谢。那么同时呢，我也非常荣幸能和各位来自世界各地的这个青少年性与生殖健康方面的专家学者这个行动者还有青年的才俊在一起交流，那么感到非常的荣幸。同时呢，作为承办这次会议的一个东道主那么更是因为我出生在昆明，那么请允许我代表 WHRAPSEA 呢，对所有远道而来的朋友表示热烈。这个天气对你们来说不是太冷，所以呢，就是希望呢，大家呢在接下来的几天里面呢，能够充分的感受到我们这样的warm heart 这个。那么同时呢，我们还欢迎呢，就是除了来自亚太东南亚地区的，我们还有全美洲和加勒比地区的妇女健康网络的朋友。我们也邀请到了这个非洲世界基督教女青年会黑龙江妇联的朋友都在座。特别的呢，我们这次呢，我们的主题呢，是基于在这个千年发展目标即将在全球范围内的这个热议。那么在我们知道在世界日益成为一种国际共识和这个国际行动的一个优先领域那么在昆明玩得开心，谢谢大家。
Thank you. Who's from the Family Planning Commission in Yunnan to actually say a few words to us in relation to what we are going to be discussing over the next 2 days. And
研究与资源中心，尊敬的各位来宾，尊敬的国内外青年同胞们、女士们、先生们、朋友们，早上好。首先，请允许我代表云南省人口计生委诚挚地欢迎各位尊敬的来宾莅临昆明参加这次重要国际会议。感谢亚太妇女研究与资源中心对这次会议的鼎力支持，让五湖四海的青年人以及专家学者们可以再聚一堂，共揽盛举。为青少年提供普遍的可及性的生殖健康服务呢，也成为了各国政府的鼎力力求改善。为青少年提供性与生殖健康信息、教育和服务呢，重要性是非常迫切。
universal access to health and information services for adolescents and youth. Given that it is a very pivotal moment. At this time, as we see ICPD commitments being reviewed at 20 years, we also see the MDGs coming to an age at 15 years. We see the world discussing what should the new development goals look like, and there has been a lot of discussions and debates in the spotlight. For the obvious reasons, as Mr. Parmi said, that the future, and there is need to look after their rights, including SRHR. News that we would like to address and take these messages forward. So that is the idea behind this dialogue.
I just tell you to discuss. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Yeah, so I think we have a good relationship with the ARO. ARO supports us a lot for the research and also advocacy. Right now we have 2 projects with ARO. The first one is WHRAPSEA. I think it's the second phase that we have with the ARO. And the new project about networking. I cannot remember exactly the name. Strengthening the networking and advocacy capacity of Asian network. I think some of us already have been in Cambodia, so we are strong in terms of the. We need to find people. They need to hear you. So I think we are quite different from other countries. So we have two organizations representative here. So first is we are representative from the University of Health Science. So we are more on the technical skill. I'm working in the maternal and child health, especially on adolescent sexual reproductive health for nearly more than 10 years. And also my colleague Dr. Visano, he's working in the sexual reproductive health, especially on HIV/AIDS. They are mainly working with the youth in LAPDA. So I think here we have a good partnership between the university or we are adult and
Youth Center for Health and Development. And for the ARO and WHRAPSEA project, I'm also the youth intern in the year 2011 that we have been interning in the WHRAPSEA project in Laos. Thank you.
Okay, we don't unfortunately have anybody from Indonesia. They weren't issued their visa on time. They couldn't come, unfortunately.
Definitely the important agenda of sexual and reproductive health and rights of young people. And we were also part of the Global Youth Forum and the post-2015 Development Agenda Review this year in Bali. So good morning everyone, and you can call me, I'm changing my name now. Because I said it's a sexy morning, I can call myself Fierce. So you can call me Fierce. Thank you so much.
And in terms of MAP more generally, we focus a lot on women's issues, no doubt. Also on public health issues more broadly, youth empowerment. We take on labor rights cases, things of that nature, all with the Burmese migrant population living in Thailand.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to meet you all. My name is Pele. My full name is Pele Ma, and I'm originally from Burma, but I'm working in Thailand, and now I'm working in my foundation, which stands for Migrant Assistance Program Foundation.
And now we have many activity for young people, for about SRHR and advocacy about SRHR for young people in Vietnam.
Okay, thank you. My name is Nelly Lukale. I'm from Kenya, and I'm representing the World WHRAPSEA. We have worked with ARO since 2001, and we were developing a global South regional report on SRHR, reclaiming and redefining SRHR plus 20. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Inunon Sangwenya, representing the World WHRAPSEA. Just an addition on what my colleague has said, I think we've partnered with ARO and we've seen the importance we've seen the importance and the change that has happened in our different communities, because we've done our level best as young women to see to it that sexual reproductive health and rights are attained at an early stage. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. While we are there, maybe we can have our partner from Latin America.
About WHRAPSEA is a local NGO based in Kunming, and we got more than 190 members with a different academic background from university institution and also from governments. So we have a very long cooperation with ARO, and supported by ARO, we try our best to do advocacy and.
In recent years, the part of the WHRAPSEA project, with the support from this project, we have, as Sonia mentioned, we have conducted several advocacy activities at county, provincial, and national levels.
2009, we had finished the program advocacy on women's health, and today we are also very happy to be invited here because from 2011 to 2013 we conducted a program named adolescents' sex and reproductive health.
我是来自中国黑龙江省，妇女联合会，我的名字叫王义东。
好，我是来自我们云南省的一个地州，我是叫红河州。这一次呢，我是受我们谭教授的邀请，很荣幸能来参加这一次会议。我是红河州卫生局的，同时我呢也是研讨会的所提出的这些内容呢，的确在我们
Yeah. 谢谢。
按照服务的人群，我服务的人群是我们当地的总人口的1/3。今天非常感谢组委会给我一次机会。刚才听各位专家介绍了，在不同的国际领域里边，不同的环境研究那个生殖健康，我相信通过这2天的对话，对我们的特别是青少年的生殖健康站起来，维护自己的权利，然后呢，还要推动全世界的妇女同志，特别是年轻，这个他们处于叛逆的、模糊的那个概念的这个期间，怎么引导他们？
有一些经历了一些很多项目吧，有一些想法和也有一些困惑，所以呢也非常诚恳的希望就通过这次会议呢，能够学到很多知识同各国的朋友们交流，然后对我今后的工作呢产生更加积极的一些促进吧。好，也非常欢迎大家。
教育科研中心我是来自这个地方的，同时呢，我也是我们这个云南健康与发展研究会的一个小组的一个成员。那么我们呢是在这个研究会的指导下呢，我们开展了一个项目，就是专门对寄宿制、农村寄宿制的学校，对他们的老师、对他们的学生开展一个青少年青春期性健康教育的。
It's a little long, and if you want, you can call me Jolly. And last summer we did a field work in a village near Kunming, and it's a program which is sponsored by the WHRAPSEA, and we get a lot of help from Teacher Tang. It's about the youth. It's about the youth's own idea about the sexual knowledge. Teach them how to use a shooting camera, and they made 3 documentary films about the sexual knowledge and communication between boys and girls in their own ideas. And it's my pleasure.
I think it's fitting to introduce the Arrow team here, and let's start with the big boss money lady.
Finance and admin manager of Arrow. Well, I hope you will have a good time interacting and networking with each other and sharing of experiences and knowledge. During your tea and coffee break, just come by and collect your per diem and submit your claims.
Considered as adolescents, and those between 15 and 24 years old are considered youths. And loosely, we generally refer to these 2 groups as young people collectively. And as many of you know, we're seeing the highest proportions of young people in history. Up to 46% of the global population is under 25 years old. And this is even higher in the least developed countries. Sometimes up to 60% of the population is below 25. And when we say young people, we really refer to a diversity of young people. This includes LGBTQI, MSM, drug users, refugees, rural populations, out-of-school young people, sex workers, and AIDS. We also acknowledge that young people are disproportionately affected by poverty, unemployment, displacement, and other factors of rapid.
Thank you for your question. Actually, I'm not familiar with this field, but I do have some friends who are gay. Are willing to express his identity to the public, so someone cannot. But in general speaking, I think the society in China now is more open than before to the gay community, the homosexual gay community. So actually, we conduct research about ask the attitudes to the homosexuality among the university students. In the KMU, the Kunming Medical University, the students give a more positive attitude to the homosexuality community. But we also choose another university, the technician university. The rate is not as good as the university from the Kunming Medical University. One reason is we give for the medical university students, we give intensive training on the HIV/AIDS prevention. I know that one or two class specially talk about the sexuality, diversity of sex, and we should respect.
I'm the lesbian and I'm the gay, and we are very open and we respect them. We don't have other attitudes for them. But there is a more problem in China, because in China, for our generation, we have a very big task for our parents. The parents want grandchildren. For us, that's a very big problem. If I'm a lesbian, I really like the girl, but for my parents, I need to finish the task. I need to have I need to have children for them. Lesbian, and there is a director called Li An. He already made a film called Wedding Banquet in 1993, and he focused on the problem, and he made a very good film. And if you want to know more, you can see the film. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can you pass?
在中小学这一块，搞就是搞这个教育教学的一个研究工作。那么应该说是在青少年，特别是女青年，在学习期间。怀孕的话呢，在我们这个社会当中，在我们学校当中是应该说目前状况应该是非常的不认同的。那么可能出现的情况呢，可能出现的情况呢就是劝其退学，或者等等其他的一些方面。那么目前呢，应该说这方面的状况吧有所的改变。也就是基于我们国家对这块的重视，对青少年性健康教育，对这个特别是女童性健康教育的这个重视吧。个人的一些做一些这方面的一些宣传，对学校这方面的工作提出一些干预的一些措施，提前教育的一些方法。那么这
follow up system, so we can follow up what our peers continue to do the program, like provide the information to their friends, or what the silence from them from do the program. So we have the monthly meeting with the peer with our trainers to they can come and sit together and discuss what happened and how they solve the problem or something like that, and we can add more how the technical way to solve the problem. And in the end of the program, we also have the camp to exchange and evaluation of the program.
Our sexuality educators in Warsaw schools with teenagers. We are talking about contraception, about HIV, about sexuality orientation, and
as I said, we are doing this totally for free, so sometimes it's difficult for us to do it, but we are trying to be as close to youth as possible. We are also providing youth consultation on our online forum. So as the professor said today, we are trying to be very close for Polish youth, to know their problems, their difficulties. We are also providing
young people, for example, the violent and the joy about activity, and they engage many young people with us about the SRHR.
Been a peer educator as well before I become a youth representative. Before I become a peer educator, we have to train before we be a peer educator. We have to study for maybe a week about many lessons such as HIV/AIDS, STDs, family plannings, future menses for the women, or something like that. And after that, we have the trainings. Become a peer educator. We have three duties to do in daily months. During 3 months, we have to discuss group. Now I'm a peer educator, so that we have peer educator at the high school and in the community. And I am a peer educator in the community, so that I have to collect the youth in my community to provide some education that I know from my organization, my knowledge that I get from to share to them. And for every 1 month, I have to in my community know that I am a peer educator. So if they have problem related to the sexual health, this month I have 3 or 5 youth that have problem with their health or reproductive health. And every 3 months I have to have the meeting with all the peer educators, have to discuss what is the problem with me and what is everything that I cannot share to the youth in the community.
From the community, also from the local authority as well. If you get this, the program, I think the program can think smoothly in the community.
49, and most of the population are young age group. And we are facing challenges for the young people, especially young girls. Young girls are more vulnerable in terms of social cultural context. We have gender role, we have more phase of cultural context that women still are under of men. Men still is the superior. Even we have the La Women Union try to empower of women, but still, it's taking time to empower women to have the similar position or situation with the men in the world.
But it took long way to go, and we need to go further again. It's our long way to implement our sexuality education, to do the intervention to the young ethnic Akha girls. So our team, especially we work with the Vientiane Youth Center. So we try to collect on the existing guidelines for the sexuality education program in Laos.
In terms of what is the situation in regards to comprehensive sexuality education, and we will map that out, and then we will look at what do you think are some of the priorities that need to be still looked at. We'll see what are some of the limitations or barriers still existing at the moment, how do we improve on it, some key strategies, and what do we want to identify as our recommendations as we move towards advocating more for CSC as we approach 2015. to document this discussion and present it when we come back in the larger group setting.
But to public health, they concentrate on the sex and reproductive health. But so there's some difference, and the education system, they don't know what we are doing. So they don't seek help from our help, but we want to promote the youth health. So there are difficulties and barriers to do this kind of work.
Okay. You think that it? Okay.
So of the common education, and for the health system, we want to improve the health education. The sexual health education. So now the
curricula, who would like to train teachers with low cost, and there's a lot of will in the civil society to help support the project, but there's no political will. It is not considered a priority.
Implementation, but before we go there, I should ask you, what about in Thailand?
Yeah, and so obviously we're representing kind of a smaller population in Thailand, as in we're focusing on migrants, but I also know a bit about the situation regarding CSE in Thailand. And I know that one of the major concerns is, even though Thailand put a large emphasis on its CSE rollout, the main obstacle has been that it largely focuses on biological processes, things of that nature, that really when we're talking about things that are accessible to youth, that really resonate with youth, that it hasn't really had a large effect. And similarly, training teachers to really properly deliver CSE programs. So yeah, I would say
how to move the curriculum to start at the early stage, not the late stage. Usually we give to the young children when they were only age 15 or higher than that, but not age less than 10 like in USA or in Europe. I think that is the content we need to be concerned. I think most of us.
Barriers. Would they like to share some barriers?
I think other barriers are some middle schools, and they have some psychological teachers or nurses, but they're not a specialty in health and medical science.
I think also there's lack of intergenerational dialogue, especially between young people and adults. We find that the space is not conducive for young people to discuss anything about sexuality with their parents, with their teachers. Even if the teachers are offering this education in schools, young people are not free to ask questions about sexuality education. So that intergenerational dialogue is still lacking in our society.
Okay. Yes.
Makers and on teachers and on the society. Sexuality education as defined by WHO. And those studies are usually related to the faith and religion departments, not usual universities, but usually you can study either theology or family studies, which gives you a sense of objectivity.
Each individual has sexual citizenship, then it goes beyond, just, the moral morality, or even the complete opposite.
And it's related also to developing, learning materials, because in Poland you have a body that revises textbooks for family life, and you have priests there, and you have harmful stereotypes in the text, and if you have NGO developed curricula and textbooks, they won't get through because the priest will reject them.
So even we have the
that's what they call it now.
That's
what they call it before they go for a walk.
Even we have the CSE program in place, but I thought that most of the teacher, especially older teacher, in the, let's say, the rural area, they really rejected the program. They really do not want to teach. But we have some solution to tackle this issue. I will explore more.
Here we have a committee, so-called Kunming Committee for Women and Children. This committee working to provide education to the mother and to the mother in their commune, and engage them in the preparation of the work plan and put in their commune investment plan every year. Yeah.
So we have this program, so we didn't get we didn't do the follow-up evaluation. So one day maybe we can see.
You were saying that teaching students majoring social work. So we can take some method or some intervention to support young girls who experience abortion and so on.
You need to do it at home with the birth attendants, the traditional birth attendants who are not trained. So you get that there's so many infections that they get from there. So it's still a big problem, but we are working on it.
HR as target of health goal in MDG.
Part of our discussion. The first one is advocacy. In advocacy level, especially in best policies, we talk and have some information. The second is implementation of what we have done. The third part is challenges, and the last is recommendation. So the first about advocacy, the first information about organizing street action. Advocacy is about MOH, youth-friendly health services.
Service qualities, and they change their attitude, and our program has some achievement. But otherwise, we on the other hand, we also find some problem. The number is still very small. Given the risk too much. Abortion is a very normal thing, and it's not too bad. So the providers they're worried about this problem because they used to
actually work with a advertising agency or with the private sector. Sometimes we have to take the initiative, we have to take it to them and approach them, you see. Because it's difficult for them to go and seek you out because they don't know what you need, you see. So I think we have to be proactive and move the other way around. And I can tell you, a lot of advertising agencies, they are seeking for opportunities like this. These are, we do it like a service to the society. We call it pro bono. So, we give our time and we even, create products. And actually it's just to create the awareness, you see. And that's part of their contribution to society.